I have an invitation for you. I've got a couple of stories I want to share as well. The invitation, join me. The Hope Class. This is an encore presentation of the Hope Class. We just did this a little over a week ago. Some of you may have come. drpauljenkins.com/hope. I'll put that in the description as well and tell you a little bit more about it. I think if you're like me, and you probably are because you're here, I get tired of the negativity swirling around us in the world. There is so much going on between health concerns and wars and unrest, negative attitudes and opinions, fighting, complaining. Enough already, right? I'm a professional psychologist. And when I teach people how to operate their brain, you can actually create hope. You don't have to wait for the world to change. And this is good news. We don't have to wait for the light at the end of the tunnel. We can just go flip the switch when we know how to operate the equipment. You might already be familiar with this model. I've talked about this on some of the videos here on the channel. This is the core of my coaching programs as well. And what I've designed here is a psychological model for positivity. So we're not talking the trite, fluffy, just think positive that you hear from motivational gurus on the stage. We're talking about the proper operation of the equipment of your own mind. And when you understand how to do this, you can create hope. We're going to get into that in detail in the Hope class. This is the class that I did a couple of weeks ago. Some of you probably attended. If you didn't have a chance, I'm doing another encore presentation of the Hope class. Just go register, drpauljenkins.com/hope. And I will take you through this psychological model. And here's what you get to have: peace, a feeling of confidence, hope. We don't have to wait for the world to change. I wanted to share a little story with you here today too, because there are powerful stories out there that teach this. And one of my favorites comes from Elizabeth Smart. You may remember her. She made the news when she was 14 years old. She was abducted from her home right here in Salt Lake City. And her captivity, her abusers held her captive for 9 months as a 14-year-old girl. Now, there's a lot of reasons why Elizabeth impresses me. I've gotten to know her. In fact, I collaborated with her on this book, helping her to come up with some of the interviews that she did. What she's done in this book is she has shared stories of people. Some of them you may know. In fact, I get a little cameo in chapter 11, which is kind of fun. But she shares stories that are horrendous, like her own, okay? Things that you can't imagine going through. She shares these stories and how these inspiring people have created hope. Okay, that's on the title, Where There's Hope. You wouldn't think that hope could be found when you're being abducted and brutally abused for 9 months. Well, she found hope. No, let me correct that. She didn't find it. She created it. She created it. How is that done? What's going on in your world that has you feeling trapped, feeling despair, feeling hopeless? Do you know that hopelessness is the #1 risk factor for suicide? We need to take this on seriously, especially if it can be created. It's kind of like wishing that you could have your favorite dish. Well, get the recipe and make it, right? That's what we're talking about here. I'll share that model with you. Once again, that URL is drpauljenkins.com/hope. Can you remember that? That's pretty easy. In just a couple of days, I will be doing that live. You will be in the room with me, and I will teach you this model. This model, which is a psychological model for how to create hope no matter what's going on around you, you're going to see some things about your own mind that will absolutely change the game for you. I mentioned that Elizabeth gave me a little cameo. I keep ducking out of the frame because I've got my stuff on the floor right here, and you're getting me live today, no editing. Where There's Hope by Elizabeth Smart. I mentioned that she gave me a little shout out in chapter 11, but it's not just a shout out. She was sharing part of my story. I don't know if I've shared it with you. If you've read my book, Pathological Positivity, chapter 1 is titled Lightning Strikes. And and I've got another chapter titled Surprise, because you know how you're going along through life and you expect life to go this way, and then it goes that way instead. It takes a complete turn. Surprise! This happened to me when I ended up in a bankruptcy. I couldn't even talk about this for years. I was so ashamed. I used to think, oh, bankruptcy, that happens to people who are flakes or dishonest or whatever. I have a whole lot more empathy now because I've been there. And I shared this with Elizabeth, and this is the part that made the book. When I walked out of that bankruptcy court, and this was not fun, you guys. This is not what I had in mind. I did not raise my hand and sign up for this. I was at a point in my life and my career where I should be set by now. I should be able to support my family better. And here I am in the lowest of economic times that I've ever faced. And I walk out of that bankruptcy court. And the thing that surprised me the most, everything was still in color. And this blew my mind a little bit, right? It's like, I don't know what I was expecting. One of those old 20s movies where everything's black and white. I don't know, but everything's in color. The birds are singing, there's breeze in the trees, children are playing in the playground. The world keeps rolling. I'm having this personal tragedy, and somehow I'm thinking, the world is still going. And I don't know why that surprised me, but it was a nice little heads up to the fact that our circumstances are simply our circumstances. In my coaching, I teach people that circumstances are neutral. That model that I share, it's got what it is right here in the middle, and you've heard that. It is what it is. We're going to get into this in the Hope class. I'm doing an encore. For those of you who are just joining, here's the URL, drpauljenkins.com/hope. Will you just come join me? I will be live in the room answering your questions. Let's figure out how to create hope. In the model, hope is right here. Gratitude's down here. This is depression. This is anxiety. I'll tie all that together for you so that you can see exactly what your brain is doing with this. So back to my story. Here I am at the lowest economic point in my life. Just filed bankruptcy. I realized, the world is still going on around me. And here's the powerful thing that I learned. It's a choice. And we hear that all the time, and it can be really annoying. Happiness is a choice. And you're like, shut up. Because if you're not happy, it feels kind of offensive when people say that. But we're getting way past that, you guys. We have to get to the actual psychology that's going on in our own mind. It's like having the operating instructions for the equipment, okay? And what I realized through that experience is that happiness is, in fact, a choice. See, before the bankruptcy, I was thinking, I've got to find some way to solve this problem. And I thought that the solution was money. It wasn't. It was my thinking. It was my thinking. And when I figured that out, money stopped being a problem. Isn't that interesting? And we give way too much power to the circumstances of our life. And that's what steals our hope. That's what robs our joy. And enough already. My purpose is to liberate as many people as I can reach through sharing with them the powerful models about how to operate the equipment of their own mind. Hope is not only available, it's something that you can create by choice. And when you understand how to operate your mind, it's simple. Okay, now I have to make a disclaimer. Simple and easy are not the same thing. Because a lot of simple things are not that easy. And that's just because of our programming. I mean, think about it. Programming has to do with what we've been trained, taught, and educated to already think. And our brain is kind of lazy and loyal. It wants to stick with whatever it's already used to. And so whatever you're programmed with, like your language, for example, you were programmed to speak your language by people who didn't even give you a choice, right? Now you can choose to speak another language, but it's more than a choice. You can see the choice is essential, but it's not sufficient. So there's a training process. There's some programming, reprogramming that we get to do. I can help you with that. You guys, I'm a professional psychologist. I hang out here on YouTube because of you. There are times, honestly, there are times when I think, wow, this is a lot of work maintaining this channel. And then you guys give me comments like, this has changed my life. This has saved my life. This has saved my relationships. And I'm like, I can't stop then. I'm here for you. I'm working for you. And I will be in the room. Once again, let me grab that URL for you. Dr. Paul Jenkins, that's me, .com/hope, HOPE, all one word, drpauljenkins.com/hope. We have the registration page open as of yesterday. I reopened it because we had such a phenomenal response on the Hope class before. We have got to create some hope, you guys. Let's stop waiting for the world to change. The world will continue to change all around us. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. It's always something. Have you noticed? So let's not wait for circumstances or other people to change in order to feel that hope now. We've got this, okay? And I've got you. Thank you to all of you who are jumping on live. I see your comments. You guys are jumping in from all over the world. And I am so honored to be on your team. I'm looking forward to having you in the room with me one more time before I wrap up here, because I've got a client that I'm meeting with in just a minute. drpauljenkins.com/hope. The Hope class. And this is an encore presentation. I hadn't planned it until just yesterday. I thought, let's do this again. Okay, so we've opened it up. Come and invite somebody to come with you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining me here live. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.